Donald Trump's unprecedented third term as President of the United States has sent shockwaves through the nation, deepening political divisions and leaving many Americans feeling exhausted and disillusioned. His re-election victory in 2024 marked a culmination of the conservative populist movement he ignited years earlier, signaling a potential sea change in American politics. However, this victory has come at a cost, as a palpable sense of political fatigue has settled over the nation. Recent polls paint a stark picture of this exhaustion. A significant majority of Americans cutting across party lines admit to actively limiting their consumption of political news. This weariness transcends political affiliation, with roughly 70% of Democrats, 60% of Republicans, and 60% of independents reporting feeling overwhelmed by the constant barrage of political news. The relentless news cycle fueled by social media and partisan outlets has left many feeling drained and eager to tune out the political arena. This political fatigue is a stark departure from the political climate of just a few years ago. In the years leading up to the 2012 election, there was a sense of optimism, particularly among Democrats, who saw the changing demographics of the country as a harbinger of a new era of Democratic dominance. The 2012 election, once viewed as the dawn of this new era, is now seen by many as the end of an era marked by at least a semblance of political consensus. The rise of Trump and the subsequent polarization of American politics have shattered this sense of unity. Issues that once enjoyed bipartisan support are now deeply contested, and common ground seems to be eroding on even the most fundamental questions facing the nation. This fragmentation of the political landscape has left many Americans feeling lost and uncertain about the future direction of the country. The changing political landscape is mirrored in the shifting sands of cable news viewership. The Trump era has ushered in a new era for cable news, one marked by both fragmentation and consolidation. While Fox News has seen its dominance grow, CNN and MSNBC have experienced significant declines in viewership, struggling to adapt to the new realities of the political landscape. Fox News, long the favored network of conservatives, has seen its ratings surge in the wake of Trump's re-election. The network's primetime viewership has increased by 12%, and it now commands a staggering 72% of the cable news audience during primetime hours. This dominance underscores the network's success in tapping into the anxieties and aspirations of its core audience, who see in Trump a champion of their values and a bulwark against perceived cultural and political threats. In contrast, CNN and MSNBC, networks that have traditionally appealed to more liberal audiences, have faced significant headwinds. Both networks have seen their viewership plummet, particularly in the coveted primetime slot. CNN's total day viewership is down 35%, while its primetime viewership has plummeted by 46%. MSNBC has fared even worse, with total day viewership down 47% and primetime viewership down a staggering 54%. The network's struggles highlight the challenges they face in maintaining relevance in a media landscape increasingly fragmented by partisan allegiances and the rise of alternative news sources. This shift in cable news viewership reflects a broader trend of political polarization in the United States. As the country has become more divided along political lines, so too has its media consumption. This fragmentation of the media landscape has contributed to the rise of echo chambers, where individuals are primarily exposed to information that confirms their existing beliefs, further exacerbating political divisions and making it increasingly difficult to find common ground. To fully grasp the current state of American politics and the reasons behind the pervasive political fatigue, it's essential to understand the dramatic transformation the political landscape has undergone, particularly since the rise of Donald Trump. Prior to Trump's entrance onto the political stage, American politics, while often contentious, operated within certain broadly agreed-upon boundaries. In the pre-Trump era, the Republican and Democratic parties, while espousing different visions for the country, generally adhered to a set of shared principles and norms. Republicans, broadly speaking, advocated for fiscal conservatism, traditional social values, and a strong national defense, while Democrats championed labor unions, social justice, and a more expansive role for government in addressing social and economic inequality. While disagreements were often fierce, they typically unfolded within the framework of a shared understanding of the role of government and the values that underpinned American democracy. Trump's arrival upended this established order, shattering long-held norms and injecting a volatile new element into American political discourse. He openly questioned the legitimacy of his opponents, flirted with conspiracy theories, and displayed a blatant disregard for the traditional rules of political engagement. This unorthodox approach, while unsettling to many, resonated with a segment of the electorate who felt ignored and marginalized by the political establishment. Trump's presidency, marked by constant controversy and a relentless assault on traditional norms, has left the American political landscape looking vastly different than it did just a decade ago. The old rules no longer seem to apply, and the boundaries of acceptable political discourse have been redrawn, leaving many Americans feeling disoriented and uncertain about the future of their country. In the face of declining viewership and a rapidly evolving media landscape, both CNN and MSNBC are grappling with how to regain their footing and remain relevant in the post-Trump era. Recognizing the need for change, both networks are exploring new strategies to adapt to the shifting political terrain and the changing consumption habits of their audience. CNN, under new leadership, is placing a renewed emphasis on its digital platforms, hoping to attract a younger, more digitally savvy audience. The network recently launched a paywalled subscription service for its website and app, aiming to capitalize on its extensive online reach. With nearly 150 million monthly visitors to its website, CNN is betting that it can convert a portion of its online audience into paying subscribers, providing a much-needed revenue stream in an increasingly challenging media environment. Meanwhile, Comcast, the parent company of MSNBC, is undertaking a broader restructuring of its cable properties, recognizing the need to adapt to the changing dynamics of the cable television industry. While details of the restructuring remain unclear, it is likely to involve a combination of cost-cutting measures and a renewed focus on digital offerings. Public opinion regarding the future direction of political media is mixed. Some argue that cable news networks, in their relentless focus on Trump and the daily political dramas, have contributed to the very political fatigue they are now struggling to overcome. They contend that a shift in focus away from the constant churn of the Trumpian news cycle and towards a more substantive examination of policy issues and the challenges facing the country is necessary to re-engage a disillusioned public.